Welcome to the Crack Podcast. Yeah, before we really jump in, I want to set the stage, kind of give you the hook for this deep dive because it cuts right to the heart of personal power. We're talking about what our sources are calling dangerous confidence.
It's definitely a phrase designed to make you think. And we're using a really detailed blueprint today from your source material, a set of 15 principles, actually to break down what real, lasting, and, well, untouchable confidence actually looks like.
And that's the starting point, isn't it? Because, most people hear confidence and they think loud, maybe flashy, always trying to get noticed or chasing approval.
Right, the mistake showing off for actual strength.
But if you really observe people who have that quiet power, the real leaders, it's often the opposite, isn't it?
Absolutely. The sources we're looking at define genuine confidence as something calm, steady, a quiet kind of power. It's this internal certainty that just makes people notice you, respect your presence, without you needing to shout for attention.
It's not an act you put on?
No, it's just who you are, deep down.
Okay, so let's unpack why the authors call this confidence dangerous. Because I think it's dangerous in the sense that it makes you less predictable, maybe harder to manipulate.
That's precisely it. The ultimate level, the mission statement for today really is hitting that point where nothing shakes you, nothing provokes you, and fundamentally nothing controls you.
That inability to be provoked, that's the untouchable part, right?
Exactly. And the core issue the source material highlights is that, well, most people live in reaction mode, just constantly reacting.
Reacting to everything, like criticism, rejection.
Criticism, rejection, the daily chaos that life throws at you, every opinion someone shares online or in person.
And each time you react, snapping back or giving that super long excuse or getting defensive, you're basically handing over a piece of your power, your energy.
You're draining your own battery with every reaction. But if you stop doing that, if you hold on to that energy, you become stable, centered, and eventually untouchable.
So that's our deep dive today. We're going into these 15 practical steps, these timeless truths from the sources to build that specific kind of resilient presence.
We'll look at exactly how to quiet that negative self-talk, get a grip on your emotions, and crucially, stop tying your own sense of worth to what happens externally.
It sounds like a pretty fundamental shift, moving away from always looking outside for validation.
And towards building something internal, unshakable.
Right, so where do we start? It has to be internal, doesn't it? Inside your own head.
Exactly. We kick off with Chapter 2 from the source material, which tackles probably the most influential voice there is, your inner dialogue. The source calls it your greatest weapon, or your biggest enemy.
Weapon or enemy? Wow. Because it sets the internal temperature, right? The thermostat for your confidence.
Precisely. And this isn't just, think positive fluff. It's deeper. It's like self-programming. How you consistently talk to yourself when nobody's listening, that directly dictates how you show up in public.
So if that inner voice is always critical, oh, I always mess this up, or I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, then you walk into situations already feeling small. Hesitant.
Yeah, nervous, hesitant. You literally shrink your physical presence without even realizing it. Your mind gets trained by that repetitive negative loop.
But the flip side is, if you train that voice, make it say, okay, I can handle this, or I've prepared, I'm capable, then you enter that same situation feeling calmer.
Calmer, taller, sharper. The sources are really clear on this. Confidence doesn't come from applause or success first. It has to start in your mind. It's an act of will. Initially.
Okay, but here's the tricky part, I think. Most people wait for the proof, right? They think, okay, once I get that promotion, then I'll let myself feel confident.
That's the common mistake, yeah. You're always waiting for life, for external reality, to give you permission.
Which means you're always sort of behind.
Yeah.
Chasing it.
And that waiting just kills confidence before it even starts. The mechanism described here flips it. You don't wait for life to validate the inner voice. You create the proof yourself. Through deliberate repetition.
Repetition? So your brain believes what you keep telling it?
Basically, yes. It's neuroplasticity 101. Repeat weakness, self-criticism, and your brain wires itself to look for threats and pull back. Repeat capability, strength, I can handle this, and your mind starts looking for ways to make that true. You control the narrative first.
So it's a cognitive shift in real time. Like instead of messing up and instantly thinking, ugh, I'm so stupid, you actively switch the script.
Exactly. You shift to something constructive. Okay, that didn't work out. What did I learn? What information can I use now to do better next time? It becomes about learning, not beating yourself up.
Building, not destroying. Okay. And the source material gives a practical challenge for this.
Yeah, a 30-day challenge designed to really rewire that internal thermostat. It suggests saying 3 specific things out loud every morning.
Out loud. Why out loud?
Seems to make it more concrete, more intentional.
Yeah.
The phrases are, I respect myself, I can handle anything today, and I don't need anyone's approval to move forward.
I respect myself. I can handle anything today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward.
Right. And the goal isn't necessarily instant total belief on day one. It's about forming the habit, training your mind day by day to be your ally, not your critic, making you less vulnerable to external hits.
That focus on the inner game, that self-respect piece, seems like the perfect lead-in to the next chapter, chapter 3, self-respect as the bedrock.
It really is, because the sources argue that confidence without self-respect is just hollow. It's an act, a mask that's going to crack the second real pressure hits.
So real confidence is who you are, not just what you project.
Exactly. It comes from your actions, how you treat yourself. The source suggests doing a kind of honest gut check. Do you actually treat yourself like someone you respect?
Meaning, do you value your own time? Trust your own judgment?
Yeah, or are you constantly putting yourself down, letting people walk over your boundaries, breaking promises you made to yourself?
And the kicker is, how you treat yourself sets the standard for everyone else.
Absolutely. If you consistently disrespect your own time, why would anyone else prioritize it?
Yeah.
If you talk down about your own work, you're basically teaching others that it's okay to devalue it too.
So by acting with self-respect, you kind of silently raise the bar for how others interact with you.
You do. And this respect isn't built on, one big win like landing a huge client. It's forged in the small, consistent daily choices.
Yeah.
The ones that tell your subconscious, hey, I matter enough to follow through on this.
Internal integrity, that makes sense. Like if you tell yourself you're going to get up and exercise and then you just don't, you're chipping away at that self-trust.
Precisely. You erode the foundation needed for real confidence.
So what are the specific actions, the things that actively build that quiet, solid respect?
It really boils down to integrity and follow through. Keeping promises to yourself, even the small ones, especially when it's inconvenient.
Following through on commitments you make to others too, I assume.
Definitely. And critically, knowing when to walk away from pointless arguments or toxic conversations instead of needing to win. And of course, setting and actually holding your boundaries. Each time you do these things, you're sending a message to yourself. My worth is non-negotiable.
Okay, so tying it together, respect builds trust in yourself. Once you truly trust yourself, know you'll show up, know you'll stick to your standards, then confidence just flows more naturally.
It does. You stop looking outside for validation because the internal validation is strong enough. And the world, well, it tends to adjust to the standard you confidently set for yourself.
All right, so we've covered building that internal power. Now let's look at how we communicate it, how we project it. Chapter 1 in the source material hits something I see all the time. People draining their own confidence by constantly over-explaining themselves. The confidence drain.
Oh, the overjustification habit. Yeah, it's everywhere. Someone's 5 minutes late, right? Instead of a simple confident, thanks so much for your patience or apologies for the delay, they launch into this frantic 5-minute saga.
Right. The traffic, the alarm didn't go off, the cat threw up. You get the whole story.
And they're just scrambling, desperate to be understood or forgiven or validated for something pretty minor.
And that immediately puts you in what the source calls apology mode. It screams dependency, doesn't it?
Totally. It signals my reason isn't good enough on its own. I need you to approve of it for me to feel okay. Confident people, the source argues, just know their choices, their reasons, aren't really up for debate in the same way.
So just standing by your decision, without all the extra fluff, projects strength.
Instant strength and certainty. The power is in the clarity, the firmness. Often a simple, I chose this because it felt like the right path for me, is enough. And then, silence.
Ah, the silence. That's the hard part. Letting the silence hang there instead of rushing to fill it with more justification.
That silence, without you backpedaling, carries this immense weight, this dangerous certainty, as the source puts it.
Okay, let me push on this a bit, though, because sometimes, especially at work, if you just refuse to explain, can't they come across as, I don't know, arrogant? Or like you're hiding something?
That's a really important distinction. The goal isn't rudeness or stonewalling. It's about stopping the unnecessary justification, particularly for decisions that are already made or boundaries you've set.
So if someone needs actual information to do their job, you give it. Clearly.
Of course. Clearly, concisely. But if the why is really questioning your judgment, your motive, or challenging a boundary you've set, the answer should be brief and firm. The over-explaining usually comes from a fear of being judged negatively. Clarity comes from internal certainty.
Got it. So it's about using simple, firm language, not excessive detail born out of anxiety.
Precisely. And the challenge offered is pretty direct. For 1 week, try replacing those long, rambling excuses with simple, firm statements.
Like, that timing doesn't work for me, period.
Exactly. Or, I've decided to go with this option, and then just stop talking. Hold that silence.
Let the silence do the heavy lifting. That's the weapon.
It's a powerful tool. It feels super awkward at first, no doubt, because we're so conditioned to fill space. But the idea is the less you feel the need to explain, the stronger you feel inside, and the more weight your actual words carry when you do speak.
Okay, that connects well to the next piece, chapter 6. The silent language, letting your body speak first, your posture, how you move, your eye contact. It's communicating constantly, isn't it?
Milliseconds. It tells people who you are or who you believe you are before you even open your mouth. And here's the key psychological insight. If your words say one thing, but your body says another.
People believe the body every time.
Every single time. You can say, I'm confident, but if you're slumped, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting nervously, nobody buys it.
So we need to focus on the nonverbal cues of that quiet power. Standing tall.
Standing tall, shoulders back, but relaxed, not rigid. Steady eye contact, not staring, but holding it comfortably. Calm, deliberate movements, not rushed or jerky. Even a firm handshake still matters.
And there's a feedback loop, right? If you physically carry yourself small, hunched over, trying to hide, you're actually training your brain to feel small too.
Exactly. It fuels the insecurity cycle. But consciously expanding your posture, taking up a bit more space, standing straight sends an immediate signal back to your brain. It's okay. I belong here. I'm comfortable.
The source gives some practical tips for this, little things you can train yourself to do.
Yeah, simple but effective. One is the doorway pause. Before you walk into any room, could be a meeting, a social event, anything, just pause for a beat at the threshold.
Just pause.
Yeah. Take one calm, centering breath. Check your posture, straighten up slightly, then walk in at a steady, purposeful pace, not rushing.
Why not rush? What does rushing communicate?
Anxiety, lack of control, feeling like you're already behind. If the steady pace says, I own this moment, I'm in control of my movement.
That little pause is like taking control before you even enter the space. I like that. What about eye contact?
The advice is to practice holding eye contact just a fraction of a second longer than feels comfortable initially.
Just a second longer.
Yeah. Most people break eye contact too quickly because of underlying insecurity. That extra beat communicates comfort, confidence, and also respect for the other person. You're fully present with them.
Okay, so when your body language projects that quiet confidence, you don't have to work so hard verbally.
Often, no. People pick up on those nonverbal cues subconsciously. They tend to listen more attentively, give you a bit more space, treat you with a subtle level of increased respect, most instinctively.
Now let's link that back to words. Chapter 9 talks about the weight of words. Speak less, command more.
This comes straight from observing people who hold real influence. Often they're not the loudest or chattiest people in the room. They tend to be more economical with their words.
They don't feel that nervous energy to just fill silence.
Exactly. The trap of talking too much, rambling on, is that it dilutes the impact of what you're saying. Your words become cheaper, in a sense. Confidence isn't about volume. It's about the weight your words carry.
And the source says authority is built in the pauses. How does that work?
Silence creates anticipation. When you pause before speaking or between points, people lean in. And when the words finally come, if they're chosen carefully and delivered with clarity, they land with much more authority. Fewer words, more impact.
Every sentence feels like it has a purpose, not just noise.
Right. And there's another crucial advantage here. Truly confident people tend to listen differently. They listen to actually understand what the other person is saying.
Not just waiting for their turn to talk or formulating their rebuttal while the other person is still speaking.
Precisely. Strategic listening gathers vital intel. What are their real motivations? What are they afraid of? What assumptions are they making? That understanding makes your eventual response, which is likely to be concise, much sharper, more targeted, and ultimately more powerful.
That's a huge shift. Moving from listening to defend to listening to understand and strategize, you stop feeling attacked and start operating from a position of strength.
It's a game changer. The challenge here is really practical. Try cutting your default word count in half in conversations. Notice when you're tempted to just chatter to fill a gap and resist. Hold the silence. Let your presence, your calm attention, do some of the talking.
It feels like when you stop throwing words around so freely, people start to value them more when you do choose to speak.
That's exactly the idea. You shift from speaking out of a need to be heard to speaking out of deliberate choice, and that changes everything about how you're perceived. Okay, now we're moving into territory that's absolutely critical for building that truly dangerous, untouchable confidence. Systematically cutting the cords that tie your self-worth to the outside world. Chapter 4 hits the big one. Kill the need for approval.
Oof, that constant nagging internal question, do they like me? Am I okay in their eyes? It's exhausting. And the source warns that any confidence built on that external validation is just incredibly fragile, right?
Totally fragile. Because approval can be given 1 minute and snatched away the next. It's completely outside your control.
So if your confidence depends on it, you're basically handing over the controls to your emotional state.
You are. The source uses the metaphor of being a puppet pulled by strings. If someone else's opinion dictates your self-worth, they hold the remote control to your feelings. You're unstable, easily knocked off balance, easy to manipulate.
So the necessary shift is pretty radical then. Stop chasing the applause.
And start prioritizing living authentically, standing by your values, your decisions. Real strength, the source argues, isn't found in being universally liked. It's found in being respected for staying true to yourself, especially when others disagree.
But it's important to distinguish here, isn't it? Enjoying praise or positive feedback is fine. It feels good.
Of course, enjoying it is natural. The problem is the needing it, the dependency. That's when you start compromising yourself, changing your behavior just to get that hit of validation. That's the moment you give away your power.
And the source mentions a respect paradox. What's that?
It's this interesting dynamic where initially, when you stop bending over backwards for acceptance, some people will push back. They might call you difficult or stubborn, maybe even arrogant.
Because you're not playing the game anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the paradox. Over time, those same people, or at least the ones whose respect matters, will actually come to respect you more for your consistency and integrity than they ever did when you were just trying to please them.
Because they see someone who doesn't need their approval to function. And that's rare and powerful.
That's the dangerous confidence kicking in. It happens the moment you walk into a room and your primary internal question shifts from, will they like me, to, do I respect how I'm showing up right now?
That flips the whole dynamic. You go from being a nervous performer looking for good reviews
To being an internal leader operating from your own solid standard. You stop reacting emotionally to every little comment or perceived slight and start living from a place of internal power.
Okay, so if you're living by your own terms, you're inevitably going to face some friction. Which brings us to Chapter 10. Turn rejection into power. Most people experience rejection, a job denial, a failed project as deeply personal, right? Like a verdict on their worth.
Yeah, the immediate thought is often, I'm not good enough. It feels like a crushing blow to your identity.
But the truly confident mindset reframes it entirely.
Completely. It reframes rejection not as a statement about your fundamental worth, but as valuable information. It's feedback. Maybe it's a sign you need to change direction. Maybe it's just a test of your resolve.
Rejection isn't the failure of you, it's the failure of a specific approach or fit at that particular time.
Exactly. And look at history. The source points this out.
Yeah.
Think about wildly successful people. Did they avoid rejection?
Absolutely not. Usually the opposite. J.K. Rowling rejected constantly. Entrepreneurs who failed multiple times before hitting it big. Athletes cut from teams.
Right. They didn't succeed in spite of rejection. You could argue they succeeded because of it. The resistance built resilience. It sharpened their focus. It fueled their determination. It toughened their skin.
So the crucial mindset shift is to stop asking that defeated why me question.
And start asking the practical, strategic question. Okay, what can I learn from this? What information is here for me? Did it reveal a weak spot I need to work on? Did it show me this wasn't the right path anyway? Is there a better way to approach this next time?
Every no contains data, if you look for it.
If you can get past the initial emotional sting, yes. So the practical advice is almost counterintuitive. Start to expect rejection as part of the process, especially if you're pushing boundaries or aiming high.
Welcome it even, as proof you're playing a big enough game.
In a way, yes. It proves you're stretching yourself.
Yeah.
And the key is to consciously, deliberately detach the rejection of your idea or request from your inherent worth as a person. Use it as fuel, not fuel to prove the doubters wrong, necessarily.
But fuel to prove your own resilience and capability to yourself.
Exactly. That's where the real power comes from. And that resilience, that ability to bounce back, connects directly to Chapter 11. Freedom from fear, detached from outcomes.
This feels like the holy grail for a lot of people. Because tying your self-worth directly to results, did I win? Did I lose? Did I get the promotion? Did they say yes? That's a recipe for misery.
It's an emotional roller coaster, absolutely. But worse than that, the source points out, it often leads to paralysis, fear of failure. People hold back, they play it safe, they don't take the bold action because they're so afraid of the negative outcome and what it might say about them.
So detachment isn't about not caring. It's not about apathy.
No, not at all. You still care. You still give your absolute best effort. Detachment means anchoring your sense of self, your core worth, in the things you actually can control.
Which are?
Your effort, your attitude, your preparation, how you conduct yourself through the process, the daily grind. The outcome itself, success, failure, whatever happens, is just external feedback. It's data. It's not your definition.
This sounds very stoic. Focus on your actions, not the results, which are often outside your control. Like the athlete example the source uses.
Exactly. The athlete controls their training, their diet, their focus, their recovery. They don't control the referee's bad call, the opponent having the game of their life, or a sudden downpour during the match.
So if their identity is tied to their process, their commitment, then the final score doesn't destroy their sense of self. They analyze, adjust, and get back to the process.
Right. And the power that comes from truly letting go of that attachment to a specific outcome is immense. The moment you can genuinely, deep down, say to yourself, whatever happens here, win or lose, succeed or fail, I'll handle it. I'll be okay.
The fear loses its grip.
It loosens significantly. You act with more calm, more clarity, more certainty. And ironically, that relaxed focus often leads to better performance anyway. Plus, when people sense you aren't desperate for a particular outcome, they can't manipulate you using the fear of loss. You become unshakable.
All right, let's shift into the active application of control, how we wield this internal strength. Chapter 5 presents what it calls the ultimate shield. Respond with silence, not emotion. This feels linked to not needing approval, but it's more about active defense, isn't it?
Very much so. True strength, the source argues, isn't shown in how loudly you can argue back or how quickly you can fire off a witty retort. It's shown in your ability to remain calm, centered, and often silent when under attack or provocation.
Because most people just react instantly.
Instantly. Someone criticizes, they jump to defend. Someone challenges, they snap back. And in that split second of uncontrolled reaction, they've shown their hand. They've shown their emotions are driving the bus, and their power just evaporates.
Whereas silence, it's disarming.
Deeply disarming. Think about it. If someone's trying to provoke you, they're looking for that reaction, anger, defensiveness, tears. That's their payoff when you give them. Nothing. Just calm silence.
They don't know what to do. The energy fizzles out. The spotlight kind of swings back onto them, and they might end up looking foolish or aggressive.
Exactly. Their attempt to manipulate your emotional state failed. And the mechanism is simple. Silence creates space. Critical space.
So the practical advice is?
First, you have to become aware of your triggers, what pushes you buttons. Then, when you feel that heat rising, that urge to lash out, you must consciously pause. Take a slow, deliberate breath. That pause is everything. It's the gap between stimulus and response where your control lives.
Let the silence do the initial work.
Let it absorb the impact. Then, if a response is actually necessary, make sure it comes from that calm, centered place, from strength, not knee-jerk impulse. The source puts it bluntly, the unbothered person is untouchable.
Okay, building on that, Chapter 7 tells us to define our direction. Stop reacting, start leading.
This draws a clear line. The reactive person is always playing catch-up. Their mood, their energy, their focus is constantly being dictated by external events, someone else's bad mood, an unexpected problem, a critical email.
They're always one step behind responding to the environment.
Whereas the leader, and this doesn't necessarily mean someone with a title actively sets the emotional tone, they decide the direction. They influence the environment rather than just being shaped by it.
And this starts with self-control.
Absolutely. If you're constantly getting triggered, if people know exactly how to get a rise out of you, you're predictable. And predictable people are easier to influence or control. When you stabilize your own reactions, you become less predictable, and that gives you influence. That's the dangerous confidence in action.
So how does this look practically, like in a meeting?
Okay, good example. The reactive person hears criticism of their idea and immediately jumps in, gets defensive, starts arguing point by point. The leader, embodying this principle, pauses. They listen fully to the objection, maybe asks a clarifying question, and then calmly steers the conversation back to the bigger picture, the strategic goal. They refuse to get bogged down in the emotional weeds.
They lead the energy of the room rather than just reacting to it.
Exactly. And this applies hugely in personal relationships, too. If you remain steady, calm, and clear, even when others around you are spinning out, you become the anchor. People often subconsciously follow the calmest person in the room.
So the mindset is key here. Setting an intention before walking into a potentially stressful situation. Like, okay, my goal here is to remain calm and focused on the solution.
Yes, you decide beforehand how you want to show up, rather than letting the situation dictate your state. You don't need formal authority to lead in this way. You just need disciplined self-mastery. That calm, centered presence is naturally influential.
Okay, moving on to protecting that internal state. Chapter 12. Set boundaries without apology. This feels crucial for maintaining self-respect.
Absolutely vital. Boundaries are essentially the lines you draw to protect your valuable resources. Your time, your energy, your focus, and yes, your self-respect. The hard truth is, if you don't set them, people will take as much as you allow them to take.
So confidence here means recognizing your own value and being willing to actively defend it, not just letting things slide to avoid conflict.
Right. Saying no isn't selfish. The source frames it as an act of strength. It's about protecting your peace, your priorities, your well-being.
And the key to delivering boundaries effectively is no apology, no long explanation.
That's the core message.
Yeah.
You don't need to justify your boundaries. No is a complete sentence, as the saying goes. Use short, calm, clear, unapologetic statements.
Like, that doesn't work for me, or I'm not available then, or I can't take that on right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple, direct, firm, and without any trailing apologies or justifications that weaken the message.
Now, doing this, especially at first, can feel really uncomfortable, maybe even generate guilt.
Oh, for sure. There can be guilt or fear of disappointing someone. But the source assures us that fades as you practice. And you start realizing that people, again, the ones whose respect matters, actually respect clear boundaries more than chronic people-pleasing.
And that feeling of resentment,
Yeah.
that's a sign.
Resentment is often the clearest internal signal that a boundary is needed but hasn't been set. And here's a powerful check. If someone gets angry or throws a fit when you set a reasonable boundary, that anger is usually confirmation that the boundary was absolutely necessary.
Wow. Okay, so finally in this section, chapter 13 gives us the ultimate test, maybe. Stand calm in chaos.
This is where the rubber really meets the road. Confidence isn't truly measured when everything's going smoothly. It's measured when the proverbial stuff hits the fan. The project fails, the crisis breaks, everyone else is losing their minds.
And the confident person does the opposite of what everyone else is doing.
Often, yes. When everyone else speeds up, panics, gets frantic, the truly confident person consciously slows down. They move deliberately, methodically. They don't get swept up in the hurricane of rushed energy.
How? What's the mechanism for staying calm?
It starts internally, physiologically. The absolute first step when chaos erupts is to take control of your breathing. Slow, deep, steady breaths. It sends a powerful signal to your entire nervous system. We're okay. I'm in control here. This is manageable.
That breath creates that vital space again between the event and the panic reaction.
Precisely. And then externally, it's about controlling your voice. Keep it low, keep it measured, keep it calm. High-pitched, fast-talking just feeds the panic. A calm, steady voice cuts through the noise. People naturally quiet down to listen.
And that positions you as the anchor, the person to trust.
It does. It reassures others, consciously or unconsciously, and establishes you as the stable center point. And more importantly, staying grounded when everything is falling apart is the ultimate proof to yourself. You demonstrate that while storms might reveal your strength, they don't break you.
Okay, we're building towards the highest levels now. This journey requires ongoing effort, and Chapter 8 provides the path. Embrace discomfort until it feels normal.
This is fundamental. Confidence isn't built on the couch, in the comfort zone. It's forged exclusively in those uncomfortable, challenging situations that, let's be honest, most people spend their lives trying to avoid.
Because if you always choose easy, you never grow. You never really test yourself.
You never expand your capacity, you play small, and crucially, you lack the hard-won proof of your own strength and resilience that real confidence is built upon.
So the mindset has to shift. Discomfort isn't danger, it's training.
Exactly. See it as training for strength. Every time you deliberately step into something that feels uncomfortable, making that call you dread, starting that project that scares you, speaking up in a meeting, you gather evidence. Okay, I did that. I survived. I can handle the next thing.
And repetition is key, doing it over and over.
Repetition rewires the brain. What was once terrifying, through repeated successful exposure, gradually becomes less intimidating. The fear fades, the discomfort lessens, and eventually becomes your new normal, your expanded comfort zone.
The source uses a gym analogy, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. You only build physical muscle by lifting weights that feel heavy, that cause strain. Your mental and emotional muscles work the same way. They require resistance to grow. Staying with the easy stuff keeps you weak.
So when that feeling of fear or resistance pops up, the internal script shouldn't be, oh no, run away.
No, the script becomes, okay, here it is. This feeling means I'm at the edge. This is where I get stronger. This discomfort is the signpost of growth.
And that relentless commitment to pushing boundaries, to training through discomfort, leads directly to chapter 14. Train until skill becomes certainty.
This is where confidence stops being wishful thinking and becomes deeply ingrained reality. Real, lasting, unshakable confidence isn't just a mindset. It's built on a foundation of genuine competence, knowing you've done the work.
It's earned, not just declared.
Absolutely earned. Through relentless, intentional practice, when you know deep in your bones that you have put in the hours, pushed through the plateaus, mastered the skill, whether it's public speaking, coding, negotiating, whatever doubt starts to dissolve, it transforms into certainty.
That shift from, I hope I can pull this off, to, I know exactly what to do here, that's the dangerous confidence.
That's it. And the source is clear. You can't wait to feel confident before you act. You have to act, practice, train, fail, learn, repeat again and again until the actions themselves build the confidence.
And the practice has to be intentional, right? Pushing past just going through the motions.
Yes, deliberately pushing past the easy zone. Like the master craftsperson or the elite athlete the source mentions, they don't step up to perform and wonder if they can do it.
Their body just knows. Their mind is conditioned, muscle memory takes over.
Thousands of hours of focused repetition have turned skill into automaticity, into certainty. When you apply that dedication to the core skills needed in your life, you stop thinking you can handle things and start knowing you can.
And the beauty of this earned confidence is that it's yours. No one can take it away. Compliments can fade, approval can vanish.
But the skill, the competence you built through sheer effort, that stays with you. It's internal. It's reliable.
Okay, which brings us to the final stage, the ultimate expression described in chapter 15. Live as if you need nothing.
This sounds extreme, maybe, but it represents the pinnacle of internal strength and self-sufficiency. It's reaching a state where your fundamental sense of well-being, your stability, isn't dependent on external things.
Not dependent on achieving a certain level of success, or getting constant recognition, or even being in a specific relationship.
Exactly. It's knowing that if all those external things were stripped away tomorrow, your core sense of self, your inherent worth, would remain intact. You would still be okay. You would adapt and rebuild because your foundation is internal.
Because most people operate from a place of need, don't they? Needing validation, needing attention, needing security from external sources.
And that neediness creates vulnerability. It often leads people to settle for less than they deserve because they feel incomplete without that external thing. Neediness energetically tends to repel.
Whereas moving through the world with the energy of already having what you need internally, that's attractive.
It's magnetic. When you operate from a place of discipline, purpose, self-respect, knowing you can provide those things for yourself, you become incredibly grounded. You're impossible to control through promises of external rewards or threats of loss.
So the focus shifts entirely inward. Instead of asking, what can others give me? You ask,
what can I give myself today? More discipline, stricter adherence to my boundaries, more focused effort, deeper self-respect. And cultivating gratitude is huge here too.
How does gratitude fit in?
Gratitude kills desperation. It reminds you of the strengths you already possess, the challenges you've already overcome, the resources you already have internally. It anchors you in sufficiency, not lack.
Okay, so the outcome of all this, the needing nothing, isn't isolation. It's actually magnetism.
It seems to be. Neediness pushes people away. But that quiet, centered strength, that aura of self-sufficiency and internal abundance, that draws people in. Not because you're seeking their attention, but because they're drawn to the strength of someone who doesn't need anything from them. That's the ultimate freedom, acting purely from choice, never from need or desperation. #outro. So if we were to wrap this whole deep dive up, synthesize these 15 principles, the core message is this: that truly dangerous confidence, It's quiet, it's steady, it's undeniable, and you achieve it fundamentally by refusing to give your power away, reacting to every little thing that happens outside of you.
It's about mastering that inner voice, setting those non-negotiable boundaries, and doing the hard work to earn real competence. You build control over your internal world first.
And when you do that, when your foundation is solid within yourself, then nothing on the outside can truly dictate your peace or your power.
Now, obviously, this is a journey. It's about progress, not showing up perfectly tomorrow. But let's leave you with that final provocative thought we mentioned, pulled straight from these ideas. The person who genuinely doesn't need the world's validation is precisely the person the world finds itself unable to ignore.
So maybe think about one specific area in your life this coming week. Just one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a situation where you always feel compelled to over-explain yourself, or maybe there's a boundary you consistently let slide.
And just try it. Choose silence over that long justification. Choose calm control over that knee-jerk emotional reaction. Take that one small step.
See what happens. Start claiming that strong, centered, unshakable version of yourself that honestly is probably already inside you, just waiting for you to step into it.
And that's our deep dive for today on building untouchable confidence. If you found these 15 principles useful, if this resonated, please do us a favor, hit that like button, and definitely subscribe to our channel.